Hello and welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. Kay Murray, Alejandro Moreno and Shaka Hislop here in the studio, fresh from ESPN's gym, we'll have you know as well. A little later on, we're going to be hearing from Frank Leboeuf and our Liverpool correspondent, Beth Lindop, will be with us as well, because we need to talk about what is going on at Liverpool. As it currently stands, they have fallen to their 7th defeat of the season against Bournemouth, and they are finding it hard to keep pace with the Premier League's top 5. Arne Slot was asked ahead of the Carabao game a number of questions.
What do you feel you have to achieve now this season to kind of quieten the outside noise?
No, I think it's going to be really difficult to quiet the outside noise with the position we are in the league. So even if we win a few games, every loss or every disappointing result will start the noise coming back again. That's what you can expect if you started the season as we did. Not started, but at a certain moment with so many losses. So it's impossible to shut down the noise at a club like this if you are not competing for the league. When you are Liverpool, the aim is to win the league. But we've only did this twice in the last 30 years. We want to be competitive in every single competition we are in. That's always the aim. But reality is also that in the last 3 years we've won 1 League Cup and 1 Premier League title. So when is things acceptable? I have my opinion about. I'm not going to share that. Outside world has his opinion about that. As we all know, it's a lot been said about the 450 million, where people tend to forget the 300 million we brought in.
So Arne Slot has come in for a lot of criticism lately, and when you take a look at the odds for the next manager to leave their post in the Premier League, Arne Slot tops the list right now. Let's bring in Beth Lindop and Frank Leboeuf to talk more about this. And let me start with you if I can, Beth, because it would appear that Arne Slot's job's in danger.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a tough old season for him. Pretty much since, you know, after winning the first 5 games, it's been a little bit of a disaster of a season, really. And there's sort of been peaks and troughs within that, and periods where his job has seemed unstable, and then he managed to sort of claw it back with that 13-game unbeaten run. However, you know, I think a lot of the supporters felt like that covered a multitude of sins, really, saying that they were unbeaten in 13 games because they dropped a lot of points in that run. There were a lot of performances that weren't at the standard expected. So I think Arne Slot, despite having sort of steadied the ship a little bit, still hasn't sort of managed to win over a lot of the fan base. And I think, you know, I was at Burnley a couple of weeks ago when they dropped points there, and there were a smattering of boos at the full-time whistle. And I think when that discontent starts seeping into the stadium and the match-going fans start turning on you a little bit, then it's hard to sort of win them back, I guess. So I think, listen, I think the club have wanted to give him time and still do. You know, all sort of indications are that they are still behind him. However, the main thing for Liverpool is qualifying for the Champions League for next season. Obviously now they've dropped down to 6. Manchester United and Chelsea both look capable of going on a little bit of a run with their new managers. So I think ultimately the decision will come down to whether the people at the top of the club feel like Arne Slot is the man who can guide them into the top 4 this season.
It feels like it would be Champions League or bust in a situation like this for a club like Liverpool, doesn't it?
For a club like Liverpool, and to answer the question I was put to Arne Slot, to quiet the noise, I think Liverpool have to finish 3rd to quiet that noise. I certainly do not think they do. As we said, 10 points between them and Villa. So as a result, that noise is going to continue. And maybe it is. Winning the Champions League all of a sudden gives Arne Slot a whole lot more time, or certainly buys that time with the fans at the very least. But similarly, you do not see this version of Liverpool winning the Champions League.
But Champions League qualification alone, are we at a point now where we're talking about that with Liverpool, Shaka? That if he doesn't qualify for the Champions League for next season, he's gone?
Yes, I don't see. Whether he's gone or not, I'm not sure, because Arne Slot is correct in pointing out that they won the league last season, 2nd time in 30 years, and I think that buys him a certain amount of time, a certain amount of equity. Not a lot, though, not given what we've seen of last season. And to your point, and which is why I was saying about how they finish the season, because even though they aren't going to be in the top 2, I don't think they'll be in the top 3, he can make this an argument in that, while they started well, weren't playing well, they had a tragedy in the summer, and then we got going back end of the season. Last 15 games, I'm saying here. And that's who we are, and that's the direction we're trending. The trouble with that is, and for all Arne Slot claims around finishing first last season, second title in 30 years, you look at this season, you've had poor individual performances from Van Dijk, from Mo Salah, and that's down to the players. But at the same time, you've brought in the likes of Florian Wirtz, can't get the best out of him. Alexander Isak, injured now, but you weren't able to get the best out of him. The one new signing who seemed to be performing as you'd expect was Hugo Ekitike, but then you don't start him. So there's a lot for Arne Slot, really, to answer to that. At some point, we finished top last season, second time in 30 years, just kind of runs a little stale.
It's interesting when you bring up Florian Wirtz's name, because there is a manager who did get the best out of Florian Wirtz at Bayer Leverkusen. Turns out he's available right now, Ale. Obviously, those rumours are going to be some of the outside noise right now.
It feels like you're part of the outside noise right now. Okay?
Saying what I'm hearing, just putting some facts out there. Xabi Alonso is free.
Saying.
He did really well with Florian Wirtz under his management, and he's available right now, and he has many a link with Liverpool.
Yes, it seems like a very sort of direct path to get to Xabi Alonso. Now, I would go to Arne Slot and say, listen, buddy, this outside noise that is led by Kay and the rest, the way you keep that out is, and it's the most obvious answer that he could have given, and it's a vague answer at that, is winning games. Winning games. You just say winning games, and there is no recourse to that. It doesn't mean that you're going to win the next 10 matches. You're just saying the thing that quiets people is winning games. But then he goes into this path of trying to explain and give kind of context and saying we've only won this many leagues and this League Cup in over 30 years, so on and so forth. And he tells me that he, not the outside noise, but he is thinking about it. He doesn't need to give context. He doesn't need to give this sort of explanation as to, hey, listen, don't come after me. We won the league. No. We all know that you won the league. But now, because he feels like things are getting out of hand, and he was asked in the press conference last week leading into one of the matches, he was asked about, has Xabi Alonso contacted you? Which was one of the most ridiculous questions that any press person could have asked. And somehow that's a question that was put forth to him. So he can feel that Xavi and everybody else and the noise and the walls are sort of kind of closing in on him, so he now feels like, no, hey, it's not like winning a league is something that we do all the time here. It's only happened so many times over the last 30 years. Give me some space. You know how you get space? You win games.
Beth, what is success for Liverpool this current season now with what's left?
I think the ultimate thing is qualifying for the Champions League. You know, that's the bare minimum that a club like Liverpool expects, particularly after the summer spending spree that they had last year. So, yeah, I think the bare minimum is getting in the top four. Beyond that, it's winning a trophy. They're still in the FA Cup. They're obviously still in the Champions League. And actually, you know, bar that really poor defeat to PSV Eindhoven in November, they've done okay broadly. They've done quite well in the Champions League. They played really well last week away to Marseille, which was a game that I don't think many people had them pegged to win, because, you know, Marseille have been doing well this season, particularly at home. So I think the frustration for Liverpool and for Arne Slot has been they've had these performances. They've shown that on the day they can beat anyone. You know, they beat Arsenal earlier in the season. They beat Real Madrid. Again, like I said, they went away to Marseille, a really tough place to go, and played well and won. But they just can't seem to generate that momentum, particularly in the Premier League. And coming back to what Ali was saying, it's so hard now because Xabi Alonso is this presence that is just around the club at the moment. And every conversation that's had about Arne Slot at the moment comes with a mention of Xabi Alonso. And I think from a human perspective, you know, it's quite hard not to feel a little bit sorry for Arne Slot, because he's had so many things to contend with this season. Not all of them have been of his own doing and his own making, you know. And I know Shaka mentioned earlier on about Ekitike not starting, and I think we were all surprised at Bournemouth on Saturday that he didn't start. But basically, you know, he's his only fit striker now that he's got for the next 3 months until Alexander Isak comes back. So he's wrapping him in cotton wool. He himself was injured a few weeks ago. And it's not just him. There's a number of players sort of coming back from injury or who aren't quite adapted to the pace and the physicality of the Premier League. And I think that the issue is that there doesn't seem to be any reinforcements coming in this month to help him. So he's got a small squad to manage. But yeah, while the Alonso sort of rumours linger, it's hard to really quieten the outside noise.
Yeah, that leads us right to where we need to get to when you talk, Beth, about it doesn't look as though there's anybody else coming in at the moment as we are in the winter transfer window. It's getting close to closing. When you take a look at Liverpool's defenders and those who are out for the season, Conor Bradley and Giovanni Leone, as it stands right now, it does make that topic of not getting Guehi in the summer even stronger. It's something that...
Yeah, 5 days left in the transfer window. Do Liverpool need to do something? Of course they do.
Of course they do. And look, I'm hoping, given that we both know the people in charge of the recruitment, I certainly have a lot of time for Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. I'm assuming they're plotting something brilliant in the last 5 days. And I'm assuming, giving the benefit of the doubt, that there is a very good reason why whatever they're plotting hasn't happened on January 1st and why they've waited and played all these games in the middle. But let me make this very, very, very simple. They were a defender down in the summer. We know this because they tried to sign Mark Gay on the last day of the transfer window, and halfway through his MRI, the deal collapsed. Yeah. So clearly they thought they needed a guy then. Yeah. And after that, their defender, Leone, gets injured, misses the whole season. So now you're 2 defenders down. Yeah. Then Conor Bradley gets injured. Now you're 3 defenders down. What's the solution? Oh, I know. Let's send Robertson away. No, unfortunately, now it looks like he's staying. Yeah. You're 3 defenders down.
And Gomez got injured in that ball.
Gomez got injured. Guy always gets injured. He'll be back, I presume, but whatever. I'm not saying you should panic. Maybe you got something brilliant, and there's a good reason why to wait till the end. But
I can't believe they haven't signed anybody yet. I won't lie. I can't believe it.
So you think they've signed somebody and then...
No. I can't believe they haven't signed anybody right now. We are January 26th today, right?
If nobody comes in, they need to sit there, and again, they need to reevaluate everything. What went wrong?
Because no money left, maybe.
Money doesn't just disappear like that. No, That's not how football works.
I know.
Oh, let's hear from our defender on the panel then. How much trouble are they in, Frank?
They are in big troubles because, some players are missing, some players are injured, and the players who are playing are not in the best form. And Virgil van Dijk is the best example. You know, we put everything and all responsibilities, or almost all responsibilities, on Konate. Konate has been out for the last 2 or 3 games, and nothing has improved down there. So it says a lot about the difficulty that they have and the difficulty that Arne Slot is facing right now because it's not getting any better. So yes, they need somebody else quickly. I think it's too late already, and you have to make sure that you're going to work on them because otherwise you're not going to improve. If you're not strong defensively, I mean, I've been educated into European football with the Italians, telling us that to be a champion you have to be strong defensively. It will happen to Liverpool last season, and it's not going the same way this season. So yeah, they are in big troubles right now.
Beth, let's have the final question for you because obviously Liverpool have got the talent in their side to finish in the top 5. How optimistic are you, though, that they will qualify for the Champions League?
Oh, gosh. I mean, if you'd have asked me before the Bournemouth game, I would have said that, I did believe that they could do it. But I think they're just so inconsistent. And, the issue is now that, like I say, that those other teams that are in and around them, that chasing pack of Manchester United and Chelsea, they've now gone above them and look... like they've got a better spirit and a better mood around the camp to propel them into the top 4. So at this moment in time, I'm not massively confident. And I think, again, those defensive injuries and the lack of defensive cover is a real problem. I asked Arne Slot in the press conference today, did the injury to Joe Gomez change transfer plans? And he essentially said, no, not really. So we're not anticipating anything to happen on that front. So I think if Liverpool don't sign someone, then I would be really concerned about the chances of making the top 4.
I think the most important question and most relevant question for Beth right now is, are you playing Jenga with the books in the background, Beth? How many books can you fit in the background?
And to add, is Stevie Nicholls' book there?
Well, if you look closely, you can actually see Stevie's book is there. So it's been read. It's in pride of place.
Under
I've had to make sure it fits in.
How much more space do we have? How many books can we fit in?
Oh, I think there's room for a few more, but depends if Liverpool can win a few more trophies.
Yes, the jury's definitely out on that one, and Beth is not feeling too optimistic, it would seem, right now either. Thanks so much for being with us, Beth. We'll let you get back to your reading, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Well, there's plenty of material available.
Yeah, there is, and there's plenty of material on our podcast feed as well. Gab and Jules is where you'll see more of that conversation that we shushed.